Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Rose Gold Beauty. Thank you for coming through. I wanted to add to the very interesting conversation by our girl Exoticals United. Yes. And if this is your first video clicking on me, I hope you know that I am an ally of the Exoticals United community. But some people may be like, oh, sure, maybe you're just pretending to be one until you gain enough followers and want to turn around and turn out to be your traitor or something like that. It's okay to have those reservations. So hopefully with the continued videos that I upload, it will show that that is not the case. With that said, I wanted to make this video to continue the conversation being had around this very interesting topic about hair theory. I'm sorry, let me go ahead and get the title up here. So the title was, why are people jealous of your wigs, weaves, relaxers, and highlights? Question mark. Hair theory. I thought that was such a good title, and I wanted to add to this discussion more so because I can relate to it so much. So EU, Miss EU, I hope you don't mind me sharing my take. With that said, enough prologue, let's go. So how I relate to this topic, oh my goodness. So as you yeah, I was gonna give a whole descriptor of me. So let's see, I'm brown skin. What is my shade? I'll leave all that in the description so I don't have to bog down the video with those details. So that's what I look like. Check the description. So yeah, let's go in and how I relate to this. So this triggers such memories, especially from childhood. So as a West Caribbean gal, born and raised in America, but again, obviously in my household, it was our culture. So it was Haitian culture all throughout. Our mother made sure that we had really good hair care. So we would always have our hair down to our, I want to say, past our shoulders. If not to our shoulders, then a little bit past it towards our like upper back, just chilling there. Giving us a little cool shade in the summer. So that type. So there is that. And I could recall distinct memories of interactions with other girls my age, always complimenting me on my hair here and there, especially the baby hairs, naturally laid, yeah, yeah. um, as well as like passerbys, adults. When I would be out with my family, they would always compliment me and my sisters on our hair and how cute they looked and how pretty we were and so forth. So we had that external reaffirmation and affirmations about how we looked as well as our hair. And here's the thing though, even though people would compliment me on my hair, I always looked at my hair and was like, it's not long. I've always felt like my hair was short as a kid because I would be comparing my hair to white girls' hair. It's so wild. So it's crazy because if you zoom out, it's like you never appreciate what it is you have because you're always comparing yourself to something other, always pushing that line, if you will, of what being content is or success is. All right, so let's zoom back in. Okay, so there is that. But I had to like really censor myself and be like, okay, wait, I'm over here and I am comparing my hair to someone that completely removed from who I am and so forth, while they are comparing themselves and my length of hair to them themselves. Sorry, that's like a grammatically incorrect sentence, but you caught my drift. I feel like you caught me and you're still moving along with me, so we're gonna keep it moving. So there is that. And once I realized, I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, okay, what are they comparing it to? If they're comparing it to themselves, and then that's when I would recognize, like, oh, unambiguous, not all, some. Like the ones of darker hue did tend to have quite short hair. And here's the thing, I too, again, I'm Haitian. I had my childhood friend at that time. She too would compliment me on my hair. Um, but her hair, she was dark skinned. Well, she was dark skinned. We were both Haitian, but she was just dark skinned. She had good hair. And what I mean by good hair is like she took care of her hair, as well, had very healthy hair care, hair care, okay? So that's what I mean. That's my definition of that before people try to come at me in the comments. And yeah, her hair was just like a little bit shorter than my. No, her hair was short. Yeah, but yeah, she would always have a cute bob. There you go. But it was very healthy, very thick. So we would always vibe. So she too would get the compliments as well. It would be those outside, that would, I guess, show that, I guess, admiration, but there would always be this undercurrent of envy to it as well. And I didn't get it obviously at that time until I was older. Um, yeah, so interesting now that I think about that. But okay, let's flash forward. Let's fast forward to, I want to say like my early, I want to say like teenage. Yeah, there you go. Let's do like middle school, high school. How was that like for me when it came to hair, my experiences with it? I definitely do dabbled in braids because my mother, she was a hairstylist. And so she went to hair school, got her degree and all that stuff. And then she branched out and was doing entrepreneur work in that field. So she had her clientele and who were her first models, her children. So we would always have our hair done. It was good, okay? And so like we would also, New York, okay, is where we lived, and we would go to the Dominican, the Dominican hair salons. We would go there and get our hair done. And again, the reaffirmation. They would share, oh, your hair is so good, let's make sure we take care of it even more, etc., etc. Like, ah, beautiful. Oh, this makes me so happy because I think about the community and so forth that was had in hair salons, certain ones. But here's the thing: we as West Caribbean gals, our family, we would only ever go to the Caribbean people. Caribbean, sometimes African hair salon, but only for specific things such as to get braids. But we would always have to make sure we emphasize, do not make our roots too tight, because back when I was young, there was always this running, let's just say stereotype, if you will. I was gonna say gag of like how if you go to a Nigerian or African hair salon, they always braid every microscopic hair follicle you have at the root when giving you any type of braiding style, okay? Especially if it's box braids, forget about it. Ain't no baby hair about to escape that front row. I swear to goodness. So we would have to specifically ask them to not do that. But it's like at that point, because all it took was one bad hairstyle for them to be too damn tight. Like, I'm talking about so tight that when you go to sleep you cry. You don't want your head to touch that pillow no matter how tired you are, because you know what will ensue is nothing but pain for the next 3 to 5 days, which is intense. Nobody's scalp should be that sore for that long. Have mercy. But that was the case. Baby, it kept that braiding style good for long. So yeah, after that we just went to our mom to get braiding styles done exclusively. And I feel like this also, like, if you are someone who falls under the umbrella of exotical, or benefits from any type of ism, and you got good hair, decent to good hair, please be so careful who you let play in your hair, because you just don't know what type of energy and so forth that they are coming in to the situation, especially your hair with. All right, And I say that because, oh goodness, now I'm recalling the times where we have had our hair overly trimmed, and it was, oh my goodness, I hate to say this, it was when we did go to like the African American, slash just, yeah, African American hair salons, which is why we only go to the Dominicans and Nigerians here and there, and outside of that, none. We're good. We are good to go. Do it ourselves. So there's that. Ooh. So that's it. So back to teenage me when it comes to hair. I would say I would do braiding hairstyles, sure, but that's when I transitioned to doing quick weaves. But the thing is, when I would do my braiding hairstyles, my mom would do it so good because she knew how to hide the knot, so it made it look like it was coming from my scalp, and I would get it down to. My mom was a bit conservative, so she wouldn't let us get those like butt length braids, and we had to fight to get our braids down to, I'm gonna say inches, okay? So we had to fight to even get 18-inch braids, which understandable, 12, all that stuff, the maintenance, blah blah blah. But so we would mainly get like maybe 12 or 16 inches. I love the 16 inches. Those were my favorite. I just couldn't stand washing them. So we would get that, okay? And we get it in natural color. And if we really begged for it, we would get an ombre effect, which is always a natural color at the roots, and a brown. We couldn't really do anything other than brown, so it kept it natural, and people would think that it was our true hair. I'm like, and obviously us, we're like, not about to call this my hair after how many hours and days, mind you, it took us to simply complete it. Hell no. But you know, people would just think that, and it was humbling for sure, and it was hard not to let it go to our head, because I mean, like, you're getting all these affirmations and so forth about like, oh my god, I love your hair, who did it, oh my goodness, is that yours, how long did it take you to grow, what do you put, all these things as a teenager, and you're just like, man, ask my mama. And we would always get people asking us if our mother would be willing to do their hair. My mom was like, don't bring them to me. Do not bring them to me. Because she was also very strict about who we let into the house as well, for good measure. So I definitely appreciated that. Again, the whole energy thing. So I get that. Yeah. Okay. So there is that. So I definitely would get some hair envy out past the admiration. And how it would present itself during the teenage years is, you would have people be like, oh, I bet that hair is fake. I bet it's fake. Oh, it doesn't look that expensive. Or when we would have our hair out, and did I still have my hair relaxed during this? Yep, I still had it relaxed. I didn't stop relaxing my hair till I left high school. You know, so they would think that my natural hair was a weave, a quick weave. And like at this time, again, conservative household, yes, we did braiding styles, but never ever have we touched sew-ins. My mom did not play that because she knew how notorious it was for pulling out your edges and just breaking and damaging your hair. She knew how to do it well. She would do it for cousins in her age range, especially for weddings. Like, she would have clientele to do for weddings. That's how good she was. Um, but she refused to let us do that. She said we're too young. But they would think that our hair was weave or a sew-in. And it's because of the products that we use in our hair was just that good. You know, we used the good stuff. We ain't using no blue magic, even though, listen, at some point in time we did, but we had to stop because of allergic reactions and all that stuff. And that made us wise up to being more careful and aware of what we put in our hair. So that part. And when that would take place, like, they would patronize us about our hair being ours or not, it made me think about, like, okay, who is this person to tell me that this is my hair or not? Mind you, you see it growing out of my scalp. More so when I look at the quality of their hair, I'm like, what place do you have to judge? Like, focus on yours. It was disorienting because I'm like, not another person who looks like me has some of the same phenotypes as me trying to out me and embarrass me in front of a group of people. What are you getting out of that? Trying to bring someone down, it's not going to make you look better. Yeah, it's just very uncomfortable. But it was then that I felt what texturism felt like was, but I didn't know how to put a name to it. Even that it had a name at that time, I just put it under the umbrella of, oh, that's prejudice, or oh, that's just jealousy, because of looks. That part. So there is that. Now, when you transition to early, work days out bustling in the world, this is when I did transition to doing wigs. And it's because the breakers that braiding styles, had on my hair, because I wasn't good with keeping up with moisturizing my hair well, because it's so easy to get lazy, I feel, at least for me, when I have braids in, because they don't look good. They look good for longer. So yes, when I moisturize my scalp, sure, but it's like washing it all and re-moisturizing not just the scalp, but the rest of the hair was such a feat. More so, it costs so much money, the expense, because the braids are soaking up most of the product, so it's not really getting through, and that is what would cause the damage for my hair. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. Like, yes, for me, my braiding styles would last 3 months, but the payoff afterwards, like, yes, it would grow, because you know how you get the new growth from the roots. The damage that it would do to the ends, I'm like, it pretty much even even split. Like, I'm coming out the same way I came in, pretty much. And I was like, what is this? So I transitioned to weaves, quick weaves too. That's when I started dabbling Outre, Sensational, like those. Love those brands to death. My God. Ha. So I'd be on YouTube watching all the hair reviews. Oh my goodness, the memories. And that's when I started dabbling into, like, there was this brand that was called Friday Night Hair. Oh my goodness, it was like a little bit revolutionary for its time because of the way the grid of their lace looked. It made it look like it was coming out of your scalp. However, the styles that they had, they were more one that would fit the demographic of Latina people. And I was like, can I really rock this because of it? Natural hair color, sure. But it's like, I want something that's more attuned to me. Like, I want something that's, it looks like my natural hair, pretty much. So they did finally have one. They had a unit. So I decided to take the plunge and I got it. And I was like, oh, this is looking cute. Yo, it gave all the vibes. But then when I would go out and about with it, because mind you, the reason why I wanted to transition to wigs was so that I could have something that was easy breezy, cover girl easy, but looked natural and effortless. This is when I was starting to get attuned to what I wanted my beauty style to be, which is everyday makeup, no makeup. Especially at the time, I truly was not wearing no makeup. I was like soap and water gal. Maybe a little bit of lipstick or lip tint, but that's about it. Anyways, oh, and good skincare. That's when I was getting to good skincare too. Anyways, I got that Friday night unit, babes. The attention was different. And I'm like, oh, this that texturism. So I was working as a receptionist at, a hospital at that time. And so, I'm front and center. The scalp, always in view. And so the girls that I worked alongside, they unambiguous black women, my goodness, the compliments again for sure. So I'm used to them. But at this point in time, I did not have good boundaries. So I did not know how to quell, if not circumvent them, trying to ask me questions about my hair and whether it's real or not, which we all know is a rude question to ask. Like, just admire and bye bye. Go, baby. Go about your day. So there is that. So people would come in and they would ask me, hey, your hair is so cute. I still love it. It's great. It's amazing. And then you would have an Exotical United share this in her videos, have that one or two person on the side being like either silent, or they would give that side eye. Like, and it's like you could speculate what their thoughts are, especially if you come across the same behavior quite a few times. You start getting hip. You become hip. I'm like, oh, I feel like I know what this is going to be about. Sure enough, it's like their inner thoughts would be, I bet that's not her hair. I bet that's not. And sure enough, the people that were silent, they would come up to me afterwards, still in public, but somewhat like off to the side to make it seem like they were trying to be discreet, try to get that tea on the low when it's really not on the low, those type of vibes. And then they would ask like, hey, is that your hair? It's like, it's so nice. I don't, like, where'd you get it from? And as they're saying that, they're looking dead at your hairline or at your scalp to see if they can find the line of demarcation. Oh, it's the pettiness for me. And so I would boldly say, like, yeah, you know what? This is my hair. It is. Yeah, it is my hair. And oh my goodness, that would burn them up inside. More so when customers, specifically men, it would be the black men that would go out of their way, the unambiguous black men that would go out of the way to compliment me on my hair while I was at work that I was servicing, and be to say like, oh my god, I like your hair, it's so cute, and all that stuff. They weren't trying to hit on me. They were just sincerely sharing their admiration. Meanwhile, whenever they would go up to the other black girls, unambiguous women, let me just say that, they would go ahead and compliment them, but it was with the underlying intent of wanting to hit on them. So it was odd. You would think it would be the opposite, like, oh, I like her hair, let me go ahead and swoop in and try and, mark my territory and hit on them. But they wouldn't. They would be respectful. It's weird, very weird. So there's that. Let's see. I'm trying to see. So I shared how that's what took place during my teenage years, and transitioned bit into my, early work days as well. So that a little bit after high school, getting into the working world. I want to say now and how I am when it comes to this whole situation in my hair, and when that comes up in discussion, I do not leave any room for people to feel comfortable enough to ask me if my hair is real or not. I don't care if it's in earnest or what have you. Not even to ask me what products I use on my hair. Don't ask. And I give off the vibe. I'm so proud of myself that it's to the point where I don't need to share it or show it indirectly. I just give off the vibe like, don't ask me. It's not going to end well for you. And I will forever keep that boundary in place. Because some people, you will give them an inch and they will take a mile. They truly will. So now I have more money that I can invest when it comes into my hair care. So I do still wear wigs, and I wear that because, again, it's just easy for me. And I just like how I save my own hair and all that stuff. Like, I can't be bothered to style my own hair every day. I just cannot. I moisturize it well. I twist it up. I keep those roots in lock and key in terms of moisturizing the scalp with my Jamaican castor oil and all its oil blends. and I call it a day. What's wild is that like my natural hair is 3C, 4A, 4B, okay? And right now it's like I want to say if it was stretched and straightened, it would probably be 12 to 14 inches. And that's because I went bald last year. No, last 2 years, what have you, whatever. I love it. Listen, I don't care about doing my natural hair because I don't. Less time, okay? I need effortless, yes. But with that said, I still want to look cute and have the hair that I wish I had the patience for maintenance for. Okay. So there's that. So I now invest in wigs that are only natural. So they need to mimic, kinky curly hair. I don't do the whole Spanish. I was going to say like Spanish waves or just the wavy hair and so forth that I will generally see unambiguous women do, especially when they're doing the little baby hairs, the S wave baby hairs in the front to kind of like hide the lace and so forth. I don't do that. I don't even invest in wigs where it's a 13 by 6. Those type of, don't do it. I'm not. Listen, my hairline is staying with me. I'm already a part of the Rihanna community where my forehead is front and center. I don't need any more, okay? You're not trying. I don't want people seeing my thoughts. We're good. Keep them hidden. So I have these. That's the type of wigs I wear. And again, I will get the compliments. I will get people being like, your hair's so pretty. Meow, 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 all those things. And, I definitely share thank you and so forth and compliment them on their hair. But I do make sure that I always keep that line of no, you cannot ask me anything more than that. Don't even ask me about what products I use because babes, you're not even gonna go to the store and purchase those products. You don't care. The real tea that you want that is lingering is that her hair? If I ask her these questions up close enough, will I be able to see a line of demarcation? It is just not gonna be the case because I'm really good at making my scalp look like scalp without having to glue it down. And no, I'm not going to share my tea on where I purchased my wigs. That's the other thing. It's like, just keep it. If you know, you know. If you don't, sorry. That's where I'm at with those things, okay? Unless I'm in like gated community online wise, then I'll probably be open to sharing. But otherwise, we're good on that. Even like I have a roommate now, right? And they think my wigs that I wear are mine. They probably seen one or two, but since again my natural hair is literally the same hair dye color, which is brown and blonde highlights, they're like, that is her. That's her hair. So that part. What was the other thing I was gonna say? Oh yeah, in terms of like just the hate that I receive now, in terms of it, it's interesting. I will say as people, when I'm wearing my wigs, they will think that I'm like Afro Latina, which I guess technically, Haitian people are. We don't really claim that because of all of the, historical tensions that went on with people in Haiti and the DR and colonialism and so forth. But we are Afro Latina, but I don't go out of my way to say that, okay? Once I say I'm Haitian, I'm like, oh, Caribbean, other, you're black but you're not, okay? I'm like, oh, okay, that's something. But people will assume that I'm Afro Latina or something of that extent, and I just let them. I guess it's like it's less trouble for me. I don't want to have the same conversation again and again, but I don't go out of my way to affirm it. Okay, it just is what it is. But going back to how people, that's the texturism, people misplacing me because of my hair. And I think, yeah, because it's like in the South, a lot of unambiguous women will wear the weave that is either straight or wavy. you will have some that will do the quick weave that resembles, natural kinky hair, but few and far in between. Um, I have actually had ambiguous looking black women here just, I don't know, I stir up some envy in them, and it's because, again, they're going off of my wigs and the length of them and comparing it to themselves. Like, even though, like, they would be intensely light skinned, like, I'm talking about flying colors with the whole paper bag test and all that stuff, even though I don't, like, use that in general, but it's just to give you a visual. So they look biracial, even though that's just their skin tone, but they are in fact black, but look ambiguous since their hair is like short and they have the, kinky curly texture, which I think is beautiful. Because I mean, I get my wigs in that texture, babes. They will have some envy, like not her being darker than me, but still benefiting from texturism and looking like she's not black and pulling it off and all this stuff. And it's like, I'll get that vibe. And it's like they'll give me that vibe of dislike or disdain. There you go. On the first meet. And it's like you can feel when someone's sizing you up in a specific context, and that's what it is. And it amuses me because I'm like, not in a I'm better than you type of way, but in a, is this really what we're doing? For what and for who? This Dusty standing right here? Please don't break my heart. That freaking part. But it's humbling. When these things take place, it is humbling. Let me see. What's the next thing that I'm going to say? I guess I'll round this off with just, some tips, to protect your peace if you do experience envy or just hate because you fall into the category of what the original, topical they were sharing, Miss Exoticals United was sharing, where you wear wigs, weaves, or relax your hair and so forth, and benefit from it. On top of that, especially, having a cute to pretty face. How I have been able to keep my peace is strengthening my inner boundaries and self-love and compassion that I have for myself. And what I mean by that is making sure I respect myself. I respect the boundaries that I put forth for myself. And because once you do, it'll radiate from the inside out. So people will see that, like, hey, this is how she's holding herself to a standard. They will reflexively do the same thing as well. With that said, that doesn't mean you're not going to get anybody who's not going to try you and test your boundaries. That's where you come in and you let them know, like, hey, no. This wasn't an imaginary line. This was a fortified one. Respect it and back away. And yeah, so there's that. I feel like that will help pave a way from all of that. Last thing I did want to share is, I know I shared earlier in the conversation how, like, unambiguous black men have complimented my hair, to which they still do. That same group would also be the one to try and tear me down in regards to my hair, or try to also see if my hair was fake as well. And it's like, that's why I, like, keep them at a distance. If they're complimenting my hair, I take it and I quickly leave. I don't leave any room for them to quickly turn that admiration or compliment that paid me to one that is scrutinizing. And it's always the same formula. They'll come up, they'll see me, they say, hey, I like your hair. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Back when I didn't have the boundary, they'd be like, I like your hair. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And then that would make them perk up, like, oh, this person's open. She's open to conversation. But let me go in. And I'd always see that switch of sincerity to one that is they're going to be patronizing, or just condescending, and try to just tear away, my beauty, the standard that I've presented for myself, because I'll see that flicker of emotion or just micro expression into one that's just, what is it? I want to say amusement in a toothy slash patronizing way. And then they'll start beaming at my hairline or looking at my scalp and all that stuff. Now, I say thank you quickly, and I'm putting back up the shield of leave me alone. And I feel like you kind of have to have that as someone who falls under exotical, pretty privilege, attractive privilege, any of the isms, to protect your peace, because as quickly as people build you up, they will take you down. And listen, you will have insecure men. Now, this is outside of, unambiguous black men, because this happens with any other background of guy. Even though I've highlighted them, I was just using them as an example. They are not the only one that do this. It is insecure black men. Insecure men. Or should I just zoom out a bit more and just say insecure people who will do this? And that is why I shared that PSA tip prior to this example. They will do that. And one of the ways that they try and get their end to tear you down when it comes to your hair, whether it's real or not, is to introduce themselves with a compliment. Okay, their compliment is their entry. That's like a salesman tactic 101. Okay, it makes people less guarded, so forth, and more receptive. And from there, that's when they go in for the kill. Figuratively speaking, of course. In this context, the kill would be, trying to see if that's really you, what you really about, and just humble you. So there is that. I hope you liked this video. I hope I did add to the conversation and not just re-stress what she shared so eloquently. So happy to be a part of this community. This is fun, and it feels like I got a lot off my chest. All right, with that said, Rose Beauty out, and I will see you all in the next video.